In July of 1986, a very successful author who, at that point, had seen several of his books turned into movies, decided it was time to take a stab at adapting one of his own short stories into a feature film. Not only would he write the screenplay from his original work, but he would also take on the directing duties as well. Now, being a first-time director, he decided to do things his own way, and that included tapping his favorite band to provide the entire soundtrack. Now, in a long and storied career, this would be his one and only directorial effort. While it didn't necessarily perform well at the box office, it would become a cult classic once it hit VHS. We'll take a look back at this author's horror classic and what it was like seeing it on opening night on the next Back to the Feature.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey there, movie lovers. Dwayne here to take you back to when some of the greatest movies you know and love first opened at the theater. Now, I'm a big 80s guy. I pretty much only listen to 80s music, and I think most of the best movies were made in the 1980s. If you're like me and you miss those good old days, then you're going to like this channel. Please take a quick second and hit the subscribe button below, and I'll be your host as we enjoy a look back.
What in the dickens is going on around here?
Who was driving it?
I don't know.
Curtis! It's coming after us! What is going on?
I don't know!
You want a war? You got one.
I just want to get the hell out of here. Please don't let us be in the dark.
Help me.
You're going to get us in an awful lot of trouble, man.
We already in trouble.
Maximum terror.
Jesus coming and he is.
Maximum King.
Maybe tomorrow will be our world again.
Dino De Laurentiis presents Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive.
Now, before we get started, I must disclose that Stephen King is my all-time favorite author. Huge fan. I've been reading Stephen King books since 1982. Now, Maximum Overdrive is based on the short story Trucks from his first collection of short stories that he called Night Shift. It's a story as old as time itself, or at least as old as the Industrial Revolution. You know how it goes. Machines eventually take over the world and try to kill off all the humans. In this case, though, it's not futuristic cyborgs with machine guns. Nope. This time around, it's just plain old everyday machines. Now, the trailer got my attention because A, it was a Stephen King story that I was familiar with. B, it had Emilio Estevez in it. And of course, C, that badass green Goblin truck. Now, the movie had the misfortune of being released on July 25th, which was just 1 week after Aliens came out. It didn't draw a big audience at the theater since everybody was off seeing Aliens. That was okay by me though, as I remember the theater wasn't very full when I saw it. The plot is pretty simple. The Earth crosses the tail of a comet, and this somehow causes normal, inanimate objects to come to life. All over the world, machines begin attacking humans. Now, the movie starts with a cameo by Stephen King as a man getting called an asshole by an ATM machine.
Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
Then the opening credits sequence starts. A nearby bridge raises up all by itself while cars are still driving across it. And as lots of people are getting killed on the bridge, the song Who Made Who by AC/DC plays. That's right, AC/DC was King's favorite band, and the entire movie soundtrack is provided by them. Then the story shifts to the Dixie Boy truck stop just outside of Wilmington, North Carolina. The truck stop pretty much becomes center stage for the rest of the movie. The Dixie Boy is owned and operated by a douchebag named Bubba. And our hero is the cook, Bill Robinson, an ex-convict played by Emilio Estevez. And it's pretty natural that Bill and Bubba do not get along. Now, Emilio was on a roll coming off of The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire, so I'm not sure how he ended up in this movie, but I guess he made the best of it. Now, Wanda the waitress is the first to be attacked by a machine, and she's cut by an electric saw. Lucky for her, she just got a cut on the arm and her foot. Then another employee gets hurt, and then a customer gets killed.
Your mama.
Now, in case you were wondering, that was indeed a very young Giancarlo Esposito getting electrocuted by a bunch of arcade machines. Now, for you arcade fans, the thing I like most about that scene is that it starts with Star Castle. I used to play that game all the time at my local 7-Eleven as a kid. Now, with the arcade death, Bill finally figures out something's not right in Whoville. And as the employees and customers start to kind of hunker down at the truck stop, we get introduced to some other characters who are also finding out the hard way that the world has gone crazy. First, we have a wild scene at the local baseball field where a boy named Deke was playing.
Hey, so you guys gonna help me pick this stuff up or what? Uh-oh, no sodas. What the hell? Shit!
The audience cracked up at the coach getting creamed by the soda can rockets. That whole part was pretty comical. As young Deke makes his getaway on his bike, we meet newlyweds Connie and Curtis. Now, Connie is played by Yardley Smith, who would go on to fame and fortune as the voice of Lisa Simpson. But in Maximum Overdrive, she had a very distinctive voice. Just really irritating as hell.
Oh, Jesus.
Kurt? Curtis? Is he dead?
They're on their honeymoon driving down the highway when they're attacked by a tow truck. They eventually make their way to the Dixie Boy looking for a safe haven. Unfortunately for them, the truck stop has been like a magnet for big trucks. They started arriving one by one and started circling the truck stop. The de facto leader of this ragtag group of trucks is an awesome 18-wheeler with a giant green goblin head on the front. Trying to man up, Curtis tries to drive between the trucks to get through, but gets hit by a truck and overturns the car.
Ain't on time.
Now let's backtrack a second on this last part. One thing I could never figure out. If all the machines are trying to kill people, then why didn't the car that Curtis was driving try to kill them? I'm just wondering. Now eventually a bulldozer starts destroying stuff outside while a weird little army type vehicle with a machine gun stands guard, acting as a sort of backup for the bulldozer. All the destruction gets everyone's attention inside, and they watch as the bulldozer pushes a car straight through the front of the truck stop. That was the last straw for old Bubba. He's pissed. He's so pissed that he goes into the back room, gets into his secret weapons stash, and comes back out with a bazooka. Now, why a truck stop owner has a secret weapons stash is beyond me. Maybe he's a doomsday prepper. I don't know. Now, Bill warns Bubba not to use it, but Bubba doesn't take advice from anyone. He fires the bazooka at the bulldozer and actually disables it. Or maybe he kills it, since it was sort of alive. I don't know. Anyways, that little act of rebellion could not go unanswered. Poor, dumb, dead Bubba. Now a little later, Wanda has decided she has had enough of all the craziness and thinks that maybe reasoning with them might be the way to go.
We made you!
No, get back here,
Can't you understand?
Wanda, no!
You can't do this! We made...
Poor, dumb, dead Wanda. The army truck then uses its horn to start sending Morse code. Thankfully, Deke had made it to the truck stop overnight, as he's the only one who knows Morse code. Just like a Boy Scout, always prepared. We finally learn why the trucks were circling the Dixie Boy. Gas. Only problem is, trucks can't pump their own gas. So they offer to let them live if they'll fuel up all of the trucks. And now the newly minted slaves begin taking turns pumping gas for the new overlords. They come to the realization that the machines will most likely kill them anyway once they run out of fuel. Bill comes up with a plan. He is the hero after all. There is a nearby island that doesn't allow motorized vehicles. He figures if they can get there, they'll be safe. While Bill is outside fueling a truck, the rest of the survivors are resting inside. He puts his plan into action by slipping a grenade onto the machine gun vehicle and taking off as it explodes. Another nice little treasure from Bubba's secret stash. Once back inside, he leads the group down a sewer hatch that leads to the main road. Now the trucks are mad as hell and decide to teach them all a lesson. It was a wasted lesson, though, as the group made it through the sewer in time to get to the main road, and they started heading to the boat docks. It doesn't take long for them to realize that the Green Goblin truck is following them. And then one dumb survivor gets greedy and falls behind the group to go snag a big diamond ring off of a dead lady. Now on Wall Street, greed is good, but not here. It gets him nothing but dead thanks to the Green Goblin. Everyone safely jumps on a sailboat while Bill makes one last heroic move.
Adios, motherfucker!
Happy ending? Who knows for sure? We are left with the following epilogue on the screen to give us some additional information about what happened next. Now, I've personally always enjoyed this movie. Yes, I walked out of the theater thinking a lot of it was pretty cheesy, but I didn't mind. I will admit that it doesn't take much to entertain me in the theater, but I was still entertained. The critics, however, were not entertained at all. It got ravaged by the critics, and it pretty much bombed at the box office. One critic from the Washington Post even wrote, "As a director, Stephen King proves that he hasn't got an ounce of visual style, the vaguest idea of how to direct actors, or the sense that God gave a grapefruit." Ouch. Thankfully, those brutal reviews didn't deter Mr. King from continuing to write great novels for years to come. Now, the movie would end up finally achieving some success once it came out on VHS. This got it out to a much wider audience, and it didn't hurt having AC/DC as the entire soundtrack, since they would go on to become more and more popular over the years. If you've enjoyed this trip down memory lane, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below to help grow this channel. I appreciate you taking time out of your day, and I hope you will come back for the next Back to the Feature.